Okay, we are now recording. Welcome to the 7th session of our Rose of Westhaven campaign. When last we left our heroes, they had just left the underground catacombs of an ancient elven temple, having faced corrupted plant monsters and bandits eager to plunder the temple for their own ends. They had managed to gain some loot themselves, but many of them had been injured in the process, and as they emerge from the temple, they find themselves in a cold, damp, raining evening. Rain falls down heavily around them. The ever-present gloom fog, this sort of hazy green fog, hangs over the landscape. One of their number, Odran Molag, their pagan priest, still lies unconscious, felled by the despicable bandits as they carry him out of the ruins of this temple and begin to make camp to give him some time to recover. So without further ado, I'm going to ask our players to introduce themselves. So if we can first of all go with Odran Molag himself.
Right, so I'm Johannes, and I'm playing Odran Molag. He is a priest of Dagon, the Lord of Waters, and just to picture Odran's looks, he's sort of a Welsh Dwayne The Rock Johnson, cosplaying as Conan the Barbarian. That's sort of the thing he has going on. And currently he's once again beat to shit and not very responsive.
Okay, and next let's go on to Sasha of Riverhead.
I'm Dennis, and I'm playing Sasha of Riverhead, a young red-headed girl who is off in the war going on in the land. She hooked up, her and her brother Will hooked up with Edwin Lucht, and went on a venture with him. Unfortunately, he died before the finding a venture. So she's keeping on it going in his name.
Okay, and next we go on to William of Riverhead.
Hello, I'm also Johannes, and I'm playing William of Riverhead, young boy who is has black hair and looks a bit like a stable boy from Game of Thrones, and he is a specialist. He looks a little bit like a typical adventurer, and until recently he now got shining dark leather armor now. And yeah, he's pretty much the scout of the group.
Okay, thank you very much. And last but my name is least, we turn to the elven member of our group, Marku.
Hello, I am Matthew, and I am playing Marku, the titular elf of this adventure. Just as a reminder, Marku is kind of tall, kind of bluish pale skinned, obviously with the signature ears, a slightly wooden tinge. Marku has been travelling with these fellas to find answers about what's been going on, the royalists have been doing, especially how now it connects to the elven temples of old. Although he's a little bit concerned with at the moment, and how quickly they turn against those they aided previously.
Okay, thank you very much. So, as I've described, you all emerge from the ruins of the temple, and I'm going to bring up the world map just to show you all where you are. So, you should be able to now see the icon for the player party, which is where you are. I've put a little pin in the map underneath where you are, so if you need to get back to the Temple of Shalana, you'll know where it is. As you can see, just off to the northwest of you is Porthcrawl. It is approximately 30 miles away, while to the north of you lie the regions of the Hexen Moor, a blighted region permanently shrouded in a thick gloom fog. Even as far away as you are, you can see this thick green haze hanging over it.
Once we get up and Ogren is down and has been... Sasha will take a blanket and form a little pillow under his head and make sure that he's not bleeding to death this very moment. I mean, and she will just seeing if there's a large pool of blood around him, and if there's not, she's gonna. That's the limit of her first aid skills, and then she's gonna go out and see if Baden and Dani has left or they're still around.
I would start scouting around in this immediate vicinity just to check if there are any dangers immediately.
Okay, no problem. So, William, you start scouting around. Sasha, you check that Odran is not bleeding to death, which he doesn't seem to be, but you suspect, having seen him previously, he just needs some rest. It's the middle of the night now. You can see there is no moon in the sky, and this hazy green fog, this gloom fog, clings close to the ground. William, as you're scouting around just a little bit to the north of your party, just trying to make sure everything's safe, find out what's going on, etc. As you're sort of gazing into the fog, treading very carefully, making sure you don't lose your footing in the many pools of stagnant water that lie around, caused by the dips in the landscape and the heavy rain that is falling, you can just about make out to the north of you what appear to be these strange, small, brighter green lights bobbing about in the gloom fog.
Okay. I would go down on my knees and pull out my spyglass and see if I can get some more information about these lights.
Okay, you pull out your spyglass and peer through it, twisting the end of it to focus it for a few moments. And as everything clears a little bit, you can just about make out to these lights bobbing around. And then as you focus in on a particular spot, you can see what appears to be the shadow of a man, and he appears to be holding a long net in his hands, and he's swishing it about in the air around where these lights are bobbing up and down.
I would sneak a bit closer, just to check if he's a potential threat.
Okay, you sneak a bit closer. As you get closer, you can see it's a middle-aged looking man with a lined face. He's wearing a long leather coat and a waterproof hat. It's the sort of stuff you might see fishermen wearing to proof them against the weather. He has a variety of empty jars and what look to be empty lanterns attached to a backpack on his back, and he's swishing around this large net. As you get close enough to hear what he's saying, you can hear him under his breath going, "Come on, I've nearly got you, my beauties, get on in there." And he swishes this net about.
Okay. I would slowly sneak back again, taking care that I recognize where he is currently.
No problems.
And when I'm back to the group, I would try to go to Sasha. I have found a guy who it seems like is catching some fireflies or something. He looks like a fisher. Maybe he has something we can spend the night in. Maybe he has a fisher hut or something.
Here?
Maybe.
So while this conversation...
He looks at Odran. Baden and Dani had left, right?
You have spent some time looking around. You can see no signs of Baden. You can see tracks that have headed off, showing that the cart has moved off in the direction of Porthcurl. But by the time you get there and check for them, you can't really follow them per se because of the heavy rains that are coming down. So have turned most of the ground into a mushy pulp.
Okay, well, we can go talk to him. Marco, will you be okay here, looking after Ogren? He looks at the elf. Do you want to come?
I can look after the the priest if you wish. That's not a problem. I'm not the most stealthiest of types like our friend William here.
No, he's pretty stealthy.
He is pretty stealthy.
She'll wrap the highwayman coat around her and tip her tricot hat, letting out a little rain from it. Let's go then.
Should I stay hidden?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
She flushes through the mud and the water.
I stay behind her and try to get into position to shoot him should something happen.
Okay, no problems at all. You guys sneak back northwards to where
No,
William...
she's not sneaking. She's just walking. He's sneaking.
Okay, not a problem. You head northwards to the area where William saw this fellow, and he's still there. By the time you guys draw up to him again, you can see that he appears to have caught several of these green glowing gloom bugs and is dropping them into jars. They're buzzing around angrily, their rear ends lighting up a bright green. He appears so intent on his task and sort of like packing away his stuff. He's obviously done for the evening, that he doesn't really notice you approaching over the sounds of the rain, even with Sasha sloshing through the mud.
Okay, she'll go in. Hello, old man.
He jumps and goes, bless my soul, miss. Oh, sorry, I thought you was old Hob himself, come to collect my old soul. Oh, you did give me a fright, miss.
She nods. It's a dreadful matter. Are you from around here? We have a wounded friend.
Oh, well, I don't know what I can rightly do to help you with that, miss. I mean, I'll do what I can, but, well, I'm just a poor gloombugger out collecting greenbacks.
Well, maybe you have a shelter from the rain. That would certainly help.
He says, well, I've got a tent in my backpack. Normally I find some trees, string it up under there, and then I head back in the morning.
Oh. We're going to Port Crawl?
That's right, yeah. Get a few shillings for my greenbacks there. Do a nice bit of business. They don't normally come this far south of Hexenboy, you see, but, well, what with the rains, miss? Well, they like the wet and the damp, you see.
Well, if you allow us to put up tent next to yours, maybe we could... I have some wine. We could share that.
Oh, well, that's mighty generous of you, miss. Yeah, I don't mind sharing my tent. How many of you are there? I mean, it's not very big. It's not a very big piece of tarpaulin. It might be a bit of a squeeze.
Oh, we have our own tent. We just for the safety in numbers and everything. And if you know where to put up a tent, that won't get washed away during the night, that would be great.
Well, right, you are, miss. Right, you are. Like you say, safety in numbers there. What with all the unpleasantness going on at the minute, and with this bloody heavy fog drifting down from the Hexen Moor, why, you can't be too careful.
No, and all the soldiers on the road.
Oh, yeah, tell me about it. If it's not one side, it's the other. Sometimes I don't know which is worse.
No, I don't think they know that either. She smiles at him.
Well, anyway, what say we head back to... did you say you've already picked out a campsite, or...?
Well, yes, we fell into a hole in the ground, and there seems to be some sort of ancient thing underneath. I'm not sure what it is.
He crosses himself and says, oh, you don't want to be going and messing around with ancient old stuff, miss. Why, there's always some queer talk coming down about pagan goings-on up at the moors and in the old standing stones and that. Oh, I don't even like to think of it, miss.
Well, so we are thinking we want to get away from that.
Well, very sensible of you, miss. Very sensible.
But maybe you could go back to the camp and help carry our wounded fellow. Well,
it's only right and God-fearing of me to offer help to people in need. Lead on, miss. I'll give you what help I can.
That's mighty kind of you. She tips her head and goes back to the elf and the pagan priest.
Okay, so probably about 10 minutes later, Marku, Sasha and William return with this sort of like middle-aged man with this big net over his shoulder, a large backpack on, with all these jars and lanterns hanging off him. Some of the jars have these glowing green gloom bugs in them.
All right. Do I get an idea what kind of profession he has then from that?
You would know that he's probably what in these parts is known as a gloom bugger. They effectively go out and collect these firefly-like creatures, these gloom bugs, and they can be used in specially adapted lanterns or like held in jars to provide light. They only have fairly sort of short lifespans, but since there's effectively like a never-ending supply of them almost, it's often cheaper to just pay the Gloombugger to go out and collect some more of them than it is to keep like importing expensive oil or stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like a local produce, really.
Exactly, yeah. Especially in sort of marshy, sort of wet areas. And since you're near to the coast and you're near to the Hexen Moor, it's pretty marshy and unpleasant around here, which is the sort of terrain that Gloombugs tend to love.
So I relaxed a bit at that and invite the gentleman to join us at the camp.
Oh, that's mighty generous of you, sir, he says. And then as he moves closer and he sees you in the green light cast by the jars of Gloombugs hanging off his belt, he says, "Oh, bless my soul! I've not seen an elf for a long time."
Well, we do get about.
Do you know there's people up north who don't even think that you exist?
Perhaps that would be better, old man. Perhaps that would be better, rather than the rumours and the misconceptions that people get of us.
But
It says
exist.
Look, what do you mean old? I'm not a day over 30.
Apologies. Things look different in the green light.
So you wanna camp up here? Technical, it's not wet downstairs, and there is a small chance that we could actually get a peaceful night down there. Or you wanna stay up here in the rain and mud?
Right. Well, if you forgive me for butting in, miss, I'd say that the best place to do would be to look for like a small hillock or something, preferably with some tree cover. Then, like, the water will run down the hill and we'll be on top of it, and it'll keep us a bit drier. And also, we can use trees to shelter from the rains that are falling.
Okay, that sounds good.
I would step out of shadows and bow shot for this man.
You step out and he's like, "Oh!"
Apologies. I didn't want to disturb you.
He takes a dirty rectangle of cloth out of his jerkin and wipes his forehead, and he says, "Oh, what if it isn't bad enough with all these rumours about soldiers and creatures and Lord knows what else about people jumping out of bushes and scaring a body off to death?"
I am on the lookout for them.
Yeah.
I would walk closer to these glasses with the gloombugs in them and poke at it.
Okay, you tap at the edge of the jars and it seems to agitate the bugs inside the jar slightly, and in response their rear ends glow a slightly brighter green for a few moments.
I like them. They remind me of home.
Well, yes, sir. Miss, sir, they're a marvellous thing. They shine much brighter and further than any oil lantern that you can get, any of that modern rubbish. And well, it's doing a service, you see. Well, if you get too many of them in one place, they can wreak havoc on a farmer's crops. But well, people like me, we make ourselves a few shillings and we keep the numbers down. Everyone's happy.
How much do you want for a jar?
He says, "Well, I'll sell it. I'd sell it to you probably for let's see what's the going rate." And he sort of like counts on his fingers for a few moments, and he says, "Well, I'd sell you one for 5 shillings, sir. I'll throw you in a proper lantern as well."
Oh, great! And shillings is what, silver?
Yeah, 5 silver pieces.
Okay. Well, she'll
We lost a lantern, so
she'll get out her hidden money pouch and find 5 shillings and give them to her.
Okay, he takes the money off you, takes out one of these empty lanterns, and he screws one of these glass jars with the gloom bugs into it, rattles the lantern a bit, at which point it agitates these creatures, and this green light shines out of the lantern. About the same brightness as a normal lantern, but it seems to reach a little bit further, and he hands it over to you.
Oh,
how long do they last?
He says, "Well, obviously I've not done any extensive testing, but I found they tend to last a good few minutes longer than your standard lantern. And the best thing is well, they are gloom bugs. They sort of, I don't know the right words for it. I suppose they sort of go to sleep when they're not agitated, if you see what I mean.
Oh,
So they don't really expend that much of themselves when they're asleep. But when you need to activate, you don't need to mess around with like switches or fiddling the flow of your oil or anything like that. All you got to do is shake it, and the little buggers will be agitated and lighting up. And there you go. You've got your light.
sounds great. She'll hand it to William. Here you go.
Ah, thank you. I stare at them. What do they eat?
Says eat. Why they don't eat anything, sir, while they're in there.
I think he wants to feed them.
Well, I suppose if you were looking to feed them, I mean, it hardly seems worth it given how long they live for, but, well, they eat gnats and other smaller insects and such like that you'd find around the stagnant pools hereabouts.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can have that discussion at the campsite. It's raining, and it's not really that comfortable standing here next to the thing in the ground. So should we be getting? If you lead the way, Marco, maybe we can carry Okram together.
I don't see why not.
Do you want me to help at all?
I will give Sasha my other lantern because she lost hers.
That's absolutely fine.
Is the priest still unconscious, or is he
He's unconscious, yeah.
still? Okay.
I'll
check his wounds and things the best I can.
He seems fine.
I will
He just needs rest.
I will keep scouting around just in case.
Okay, as you start scouting around, William, you sort of move into the light cast from the jars that this Gloombugger's carrying. And as you move into it, he says, "Oh, it's you again. Sorry, I didn't realise."
No worries. And I disappear into the shadows.
He smiles and you disappear into the shadows. He walks over to you, Sasha and Marco, this Gloombugger, and says, "Oh, can I give you... Oh, Lord of mercy, it's some sort of pagan devil," he says, looking down at Odrin.
No, he's just a little roughed up.
Oof, well, I did say I'd help you, and, being the right and honourable thing to do. Do you need me to help you carry him or some such?
No, if you just lead the way, we'll carry him.
All right, okay, says, well, that looks like...
He ran into a group of royalists who had fun with him, so that's why he's looking so beat up.
All right, okay, so, say no more, miss. Well, that looks like a decent sort of hillock over there. Let's have a wander up there. I think there should just be enough trees to cover us over there. So if two of you follow me, and he starts off through the mud.
Just to offset a little bit, since it's somewhat shadowy, and hopefully he didn't spot all Ogren's Dagon thing. You'll wrap him in a blanket before they lift him. I mean, not the head, but just the body.
That's absolutely fine.
Just to make him a little bit more presentable.
Yeah, no problems at all. Okay, so between the two of you following this guy, you all struggle up to the top of this hillock, and you find shelter under this small copse of trees, at which point the Gloombugger sort of strings up a rope between a couple of the trees and throws like a tarpaulin over it, and starts fastening the edges down with hammering in some twigs to make a makeshift tent.
He's a heavy one, she says, and put Ogren down. I guess we should put up the tent. Do you know how to do that, Marco?
I'm sure I could figure it out. Honestly, though, I have no idea, John.
To be honest, you've seen the other guy put up his tent, and it was basically a rope between two trees, throw his sheet over it, and then fasten the sheet down with some pebbles or sticks. It's not very difficult.
Okay.
Well, while he's doing that, Sasha will maneuver Ogren in under the tarpad and shove him to one of the sides, checking that he's still breathing. And she'll move that stuff under some sort of cover, so it hopefully will not be completely drenched if it's not already.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
She'll make extra care that her leather satchel with her spellbook isn't drenched, because You don't want to lose that.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. While you're doing that, the fellow with the gloom bugs helps you set up your tent. Marco, having done his quite quickly, he's obviously very used to doing it. And then as he's setting it up, William, you've just got back from that scouting around. You've not found anything else in particular that's interesting. As you're walking back in, the gloom bugger looks at you and he says, anyway, young master, tell me, did you ever find that cart you were looking for?
Cart?
Yeah, the first time I saw you when you were on your own.
I look at him a little bit shocked. I'm just looking for dangers, that's all.
Oh, well, that's fair enough. When I saw you probably about a day ago, you told me you were following a cart, and I just wondered whether you'd found it. I didn't mean anything by it, young master.
I did?
Yeah, that's right. I was just out there, just setting my gear up, just getting ready to collect some of the greenbacks here, and he sort of taps one of the jars with his hand. And, well, you came upon me out of the shadows, frightened me off to death, just like you did a few moments ago, young master. And, when I saw it weren't no creature coming out of the marshes at me, it was a young fellow. I asked you what you're up to, and you said you were following a cart, going back to Porthcroll. And well, you seem pleasant enough, so well, I don't even know why I'm telling this, we passed a bit of the time. You went on your way to Porthcroll, and although I can't for the life of me figure out how you managed to get round and come at me from the other direction. You must have circled round or something, young master.
I look incredibly confused at him. Maybe he did mean our friend Barden? I described him to him. Was it this guy? Maybe it was a girl with him?
I may be getting on a bit, young master, but I know a person when I see him. It were you, large as life. Plain as I'm standing here talking to you now.
I'm looking really confused at Sasha. I don't know this man.
Well, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we were like bosom buddies or anything like that, or we were great friends, but you spent the time with me. You were a very nice, polite young man. You talked to me a little bit, said you're on your way to Porthcroll. I shared a bit of my beef jerky with you, and then on you went on your merry way.
I was with this group the whole time, the last days.
Well, I'm just telling you what I saw, young master. But I'm telling you, if it wasn't you, you've got a twin brother out there somewhere.
Did he say what cart he was looking for?
Well, he said he was looking for a cart with a young man in, which matched the description that he's just given me again now. And he said it had a young woman in it. So they're heading to Porthcroll, and he was following after him.
And when was this?
Like I say, about a day ago. Told me his name was Bill.
Okay. I'm trying to remember if I know anyone like this.
Can we get? How far away is Porthcroll? Can we make it back?
It's about 30 miles, young master.
Did he wear something like this, and I show him my armor, which is looking a little bit magic?
Yeah, that's right. You were wearing the same things you're wearing now.
I know what happened, but I'm pretty sure I don't know you, and I'm pretty sure I was with this group the whole time, aside from a little bit of scouting.
Well, makes no odds to me, young master. I'm just telling you what happened. Whether it were you or whether it were a trick that the marshes play on you, there's strange things can happen out there in the marshes. But well, no harm would done to anyone. So where's the matter of it?
Yeah, but you only got that armor right today.
Yeah, a couple of hours, 1 hour ago or something. I'm looking at him. I'm going near to Sasha and ask him. Maybe it was some kind of illusion, which maybe showed him, make him believe he saw something else.
It could be something else. He says to him in a low voice.
Maybe some kind of creature or demon or something. I'm not sure.
John?
Yes?
Is it possible, I don't know if how this works in this game, it's possible for me to tell if William is hiding that he has met this person? he is, or is he generally shocked?
It's down to you to decide based on what he's saying.
Right.
But
Okay.
he does seem quite confused. I'll tell you that.
Just fascinated by this conversation. Twins are quite rare in humankind, aren't they?
I don't remember having one.
Given the
well-
sort of quite high mortality rates at the time, sort of a normal child surviving, let alone twins, is quite a rarity.
Yeah. Well, let's chalk this up to the weirdness of this place. Since we can't really travel, I mean we can, but given the rain and it's the midnight, we're not gonna get far, and we're probably gonna get lost. All we have to do is wait for the sun and then get back to Port Call at double speed.
I tell you what this reminds me of, says the Gloombugger. Have any of you heard the story of old Horace?
No.
He says, "Oh well, I tell you what, I've got some rations in my pack," and he starts getting out some rations. Why don't we all have a sit down in my tent, and I'll tell you all about it. This is the tale of old Horace. Leastways, this is how my grandmother told it to me, and now I'm telling it to you. There was this young boy who lived in a village, like many you'd find round these parts, and one day he was out walking on the moors. The gloom fog was thick all around him, but he weren't afeard because, well, he'd got the bravery of the young, who ain't learnt how cruel life can be yet. As he's walking around, the fog parts and he sees this old grey-bearded man walking towards him. Now, when the old man claps eyes on young Horace, he gets a look of mortal terror on his face, clutches his chest and falls over, stone dead. Now, young Horace, being a God-fearing boy, runs back to the village to get help. But when they get back, there's no sign of the old man, not a body or even a set of footprints. Well, the villagers think it's all so much marsh gas and return to the village. Horace goes back to his normal life and slowly forgets about what happens. Now, that'd be the end of the story, but many years later, Horace is an old man out on the moors collecting frogs for his dinner, when who should he see but his own younger self walking towards him out of the gloom fog. Certain it's devilry, he opens his mouth to scream, but no sound comes out and he feels a sharp pain in his chest. Clutching at his own chest, he falls to the ground, stone dead, and the boy disappears back into the mist. Leastway, that's how I heard the story.
Sasha will uncork a bottle of wine and pass it around.
Oh, much obliged, young miss.
She looks at William. I guess.
I will take a sip from the wine. I'm looking at this Gloombugger. Interesting story. I would love to meet my other self.
Well, I don't know how true it is or not, young master, but that's how I was the tale told anyway. But I'm sure there's other versions of it. You know, these things get embroidered. Oh, sorry, it occurs to me I've not even told you what my name is. Jasper Gresham. At your service, young master.
William of Riverhead. This is my sister Sasha.
Marku.
So would you prefer I called you your William, young master, or Bill, like you told me earlier?
I am not this other guy. I'm William.
All right, young master. I didn't mean anything by it. William it is, if that's what you want.
I'm trying to distract myself and try to collect some small bugs and ants for these gloom bugs.
That's absolutely fine.
Sasha's sitting and fiddling with some bread and some cheese, and feeling nervous.
Marku is amused by this entire exchange.
I don't think this is a good omen.
As you guys are talking, there's a crash of thunder in the distance.
Oh, I love it, John.
Yeah.
And the rain continues to beat down heavy. Is there anything else in particular you guys want to do for the rest of the night? Or shall we assume that you spend a peaceful night and you wake up in the morning?
We can assume they spend a night. I don't know how peaceful.
Well, you know, as peaceful as you get in West.
Set up watches, but other than that, should be fine.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. So the night passes uneventfully, and you all wake up the next morning. The rain has stopped. Pretty much there's only a light drizzle. The gloom fog has cleared to a few wisps of vapour, and you can see the sun shining over the horizon, only tinted slightly green by the few remaining wisps of the gloom fog. As you wake up in the morning, all of you, you can hear a crackling noise outside. The gloom bugger has already sort of started building like a small fire, to get the chill out. He's drying some of his socks, etc., over it.
I warm myself on the fire.
Yeah, Sasha will do that too. Oh, she'll check into Ogwyn first to see if he survived the night.
Okay, Odrin will have survived the night and will have regained 1 hit point. I'm not sure if we have Odrin back with us yet or not.
Huzzah!
I'm assuming not, but Odrin will slowly be recovering, but slightly sort of foggy-headed and a little bit delirious, although regaining consciousness slowly.
I'm going to... what was this again? The Gloombugger?
Jasper.
Jasper
Gresham.
I would try to ask him a couple of questions about my doppelganger, and if he touched him, and what else did he told him, why he was following them, and stuff like that.
Well, sure, go ahead, ask. He's just sat around the fire near you. So you say you've got some questions when he looks over, and he's like, well, I don't see the harm in it, young master. Go ahead.
Did you touch this bill?
Well, not as far as I remember. I passed him, you, whoever it is. I passed him over some of my rations, and he took them from me. Just a bit of cured sausage, bit of salted meat, nothing too extravagant.
Did he give you something for it?
Well, no, I didn't ask anything. I was just sharing a little bit of hospitality with a fellow traveller on the road.
Did he wear something suspicious, or did say something suspicious?
Well, like I say, he was dressed like you are, sir. Now, at this point, I'm just going to break in this conversation just to ask you a quick question, William. When it comes to the sort of evening, obviously the normal routine would be people would get undressed and they would go to sleep, etc. What does William get undressed in the evening to go to sleep?
What does he get undressed? I'm not sure what you mean, to be honest.
Indeed, do you take your armour off? Do you change your clothes before you get in your sleeping bag or whatever?
I would take off my armour normally when I'm not taking my watch, and...
Okay, yeah. In which case, as we're going to halt here, we're going to flash back to the previous evening as you go on your watch. As you start to try and get ready, you realise that you can't actually remove your armour.
Oh. Okay. Interesting. I would try to... what hinders me from it? Does it stick on me, or can't I open the...
You don't appear to be able to open the clasps. You try and force them, they won't be forced. You try and sort of pull it and get your hands under it to lever the armour off, and it just nothing doing.
Okay. I would try to go to Marku then and ask him to read what is in the runes on the armor one time again.
Okay, so Marku, William comes over to you and asks you to read the elven runes inscribed on the armour. And again, you read that it says the shadow armour of Shalana.
Now I repeat that. It's an old... It's not how Elvish is spoken today, but it translates to that.
I can't take it. I can't take it off.
It doesn't say that on the back. Do you feel uncomfortable? Restricted in any way, or is it just...
I try to move as normally as I can.
To be honest, William, the armour feels like incredibly comfortable. It's probably the most comfortable suit of like armour you've ever worn. In fact, it's almost like a second skin, you might call it.
Not in any way.
I will attempt to remove the armour and just do it gently to see if I am able to do so, or if it has any kind of reaction to me doing that.
Okay, again, you attempt to remove. You attempt to help remove the armour, but find yourself unable to do so.
Do I have any recollection of this being normal for elven armour, John?
Normal elven armour can be removed as easily as any other armour. Occasionally people would create their armour with hidden clasps so their enemies couldn't undo it, but that doesn't seem to be the case here. Now, as someone who's got experience with magic, you would know that certain magic items are ensorcelled so they cannot be removed.
Would I know from that if this armour was worn by something that's not an elf, could that be the reason why?
Well, you know that Shalana was the name of the corrupted head priest from inside the temple, and since it's called the Shadow Armour of Shalana, it's probably hers.
Yeah. So, William, the good news is that armour is probably extremely valuable and may contain magic from what I can tell. However, being in that temple, it may have other effects that I'm not sure of. Possibly this being one of them.
So
I could try and cut you out of it, but I don't know if you want me to damage the armor.
Not really. It is pretty comfortable. And I'm also feeling like it makes it easier to hide? Not sure. It feels a bit that way.
One other thing you will have noticed, William, is not to be too indelicate about it, but you found that since sort of wearing the armour, you realise you've not had to relieve yourself.
Oh. Interesting. I'm trying something else. I'm trying to cut into my finger and see if something's changed.
Okay, you cut your finger and a small droplet of blood runs out of it.
Okay.
You haven't felt, I don't know, any kind of sensitivity to the sun, have you, since putting that on?
Did I?
Nope.
Did I get hungry?
Yep, you've had your normal appetite for food, etc., and you've been eating normally. However, like I say, you've not had the urge to relieve yourself.
That's weird. I would try to move away from the others and try if I can. Because I ate something the last night and stuff. This should be normal.
Okay, you head away from the others and you attempt to relieve yourself, but it's rather like trying to force the action when you have no need to. Your body feels like it's got no need to relieve itself. So although you strain for a little bit, nothing doing.
Okay, I'm getting dressed again and walk back.
I haven't noticed any difference in William since putting on the armor, have I?
In his temperament, etc., do you mean?
Yeah, like temperament, his actual physical appearance.
The only thing you've noticed, which I told you guys when he first put the armour on, is that when he sort of moves into the darkness, the shadows seem to like move strangely around him. But other than that, no, his temperament's been exactly the same. He seems exactly the same. He's just got a weird suit of armour.
I feel like if you wanted to remove that, you may have to speak to someone more magically schooled than I.
To be completely honest, I'm quite enjoying it.
I don't know long term if it's a good idea to keep it on, considering where we found it. But just keep us informed if you feel any different.
I can't relieve myself, but that's all.
That must be pretty frustrating.
No, not really.
To be honest, you're probably actually quite enjoying it, William, because like relieving yourself is one of the unfortunate side effects of being
exactly.
human.
That's why I tested if I bleed.
Indeed. Okay, have we got Oddrun back with us now? Are you there, Oddrun?
Come back from the great beyond.
Okay, we'll assume he's still recovering at the moment. So whilst all this is going on, Sasha, what are you up to?
Is this in the morning?
Indeed, this is in the morning. The sun is just rising over the horizon. There's a small campfire been set up by Jasper. He sat around it. Marco and William are sat there sort of chatting. You hear a groan as Odran, having recovered his 1 hit point from his night's rest, sort of crawls out of the tent. Odran, you can smell sort of meat cooking, and you can see a small fire with Sasha, William, Marco, and a fella you don't recognise sort of sat around it.
Well, she's been after breakfast, or before breakfast, if the meat is not finished. She's been cleaning her pistols and reloading them.
I would check one more thing because I got this weird necklace in the dungeon 2, the silver elven necklace with the acorn on it.
Indeed.
I do try to take it off and see if this changed something.
Okay, you take the silver necklace off, that comes off absolutely fine. You slip it from around your neck. It does, however, appear to make no difference to the armour. You are still unable to remove the armour.
Okay. I'm checking the necklace if something's written on there or something, and maybe show it to Marco too.
The necklace doesn't appear to have anything written on it. It is just a small silver acorn with like a piece of leather thonging through it. You remember Marco telling you previously in the temple that it was the acorn was like an elven symbol of death and rebirth. It was quite a common thing in elven temples.
Okay. It felt slightly different when I put it on, right?
It had a slight warmth to it when you put it on, although that seems to have sort of faded with time.
I would try to go to Sasha and show it to her. Maybe she can make something out of it.
Okay, so Sasha, William comes over to you with this small silver acorn necklace that he found in the temple and shows it to you.
She looks at him, at the silver acorn.
It felt warm when I put it on.
Oh. She takes the acorn and, like, holds it in her hand, like the cup of her hand. Does it feel warm or just like metal?
It just feels like metal. There's no sort of noticeable warmth to it.
Put it on.
No. I mean, if it's enchanted.
Okay, so while you guys are having this discussion, Odran, if you're now there, you've recovered your 1 hit point. You're starting to regain consciousness. You can see these people outside the tent. You've no recollection of how you got to a tent, but you're slowly starting to wake up, feeling the worse for wear. The last thing you remember is being sort of laid low by the bandits in the temple and then passing out. What do you want to do?
So how does it work with getting your cleric spells back? I presume that I have rested now.
You have.
So
indeed.
do I now pray for them, or how does it work?
You would now need to pray to your deity, yes.
Okay. So I
got an additional spells because of level 2?
That's none of your business.
Okay, just asking.
Yep. And so I shamble over to the fire. I'm holding my head and I just point at whatever makes the most delicious smell, and I just go, "Can I have some of that?"
The fellow you don't recognise who's sat there, he sort of picks up a sharp stick and he jabs it into a bit of this smoked sausage that he's thrown on the fire, pulls it out on the stick and hands it over to you, and he says, "Oh, get that down, you fella. You're looking a bit worse for wear. Glad to see you up and about, though."
Who are you? Why are you here?
Oh, Jasper Gresham. Pleased to meet you. Well, I came across these young people dragging you through the swamps, and well, I helped them bring you up here and set up a camp so they could get you all tucked away and out of the rain and that.
Yeah, he's a gloombugger.
Ah. Well,
That's
all
right.
Thanks.
finest gloombugger this side of Devonshire.
Dagon's blessing be upon you.
It looks sort of like a little bit sideways and a little bit sort of like worried when you say that.
And I reach for like a bit to bite. If there's anything on the
Sasha
fire.
is convinced that Ogren gets a little jolly out of seeing people's reaction when he say that.
So, what are you young people up to now then?
We're going back to Port Crawl.
Oh, well, I was planning on heading back that ways myself, if you don't mind if I walk with you. Like you said the other evening, safety in numbers and all that.
No, that's fine. In fact, Ogren, you think you can walk?
Yes, I'll be quite right. And John, I'm looking around to see if there's a puddle or a stream or anything with water in it.
Given the heavy rains of the previous evening, there are like puddles everywhere.
Yeah, so I go to a big one, and I splash the water on my face, and I do my prayers for Dagon for the morning.
Indeed. So if you guys are waiting for Odrin to finish his prayers,
Yeah, while he's doing that, Sasha takes William in his hand and goes out and find a place away from the others. Okay, we can try this, William, to see if it's magical.
Okay.
And she will she'll cast Detect Magic on I don't even know if you have to cast it on something.
okay, that's fine. Well, I will just check. So
If I was there, I would be aghast.
Yeah, that's why you're not here.
Okay, here we go. Detect magic. You do cast it. It's instantaneous. It has line of sight, and it lets you know if anything within your field of vision or on your person is in any way magical, including magical creatures, magical items, any creatures or objects under the effect of a spell, etc.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So obviously the armor is magical.
Yep, you cast this spell, and as you look out in front of you, you can see that both William and the armour are registering as magical to your sight.
Okay. But not the amulet.
The silver amulet appears to be a mundane item. However, when you use your detect magic on William, well, when you look at William with detect magic cast, you seem to see almost like a sort of secondary, sort of hazy, like indistinct image of something sort of writhing and moving about that's like superimposed over him.
Because that's normal.
Well, I mean, she knows what he is. Okay, William, the amulet isn't magical. The armor is enchanted, but we knew that. And obviously I can see the guise you're wearing is magical.
Well, that should be normal, isn't it? I'm not sure. I'm doing this the first time.
Normal? I don't know it's normal. It's common for us, sure.
Really don't like this body, but I have to wear it for a couple of times. Maybe this armor will help me getting to my normal self again. I quite like it.
Let me try something. Can she get her hand in between his skin and the armor? So kind of like when you put a hand up under a shirt or something?
You can indeed.
Well, it's not fused with you.
But I can't open the sashes.
Well, if it's not uncomfortable, I mean.
No, not at all. On the contrary, I quite like it.
I mean, if it does get, I suppose we could cut it off.
I will inform you if it happens.
Okay.
And it doesn't sound like William would actually do that because he really likes this thing.
Yeah. She gives him the Acorn amulet back and goes back to her breakfast.
I put it on again and check if it's getting warm again.
It doesn't seem to get warm again, no.
Maybe I just wasted it for some reason. But okay, I'm going back to camp.
I'm a real wizard now. I cast a spell.
Woo!
Okay, so while those guys have been gone, Marku, what have you been up to?
Our plucky elf has been checking over Ogdrin. I get the name right.
You're checking over Ogdrin. He's performing his prayers to Dagon, staring into this puddle, splashing water on himself.
I'm just making sure he hasn't been showing any signs of infection or... Because what we see in the plant life in there seemed to have a mind of its own, so I'm just concerned that he may, when he was knocked unconscious, he may have become infected, so...
Okay, make me a bushcraft roll. So roll me a d6. Let me know if you get a 1.
Okay. Do that, John. One moment. Okay. I rolled a 1. John?
Indeed you did. So you look him over. You don't see any of it. You're pretty sure that he's not infected by any sort of plant life. Mm-hmm. From the temple. He seems his normal self. I mean, he's a little bit shaky and worse for wear, but that's no surprise.
Okay.
But he seems to be like regaining his strength, as though his prayers to whatever pagan deity he follows are sort of renewing his strength and his dedication to his purpose.
I'll ask him if he's got the strength to walk today or if he needs assistance. Which I could render. Looks like the other two are scouting out at the moment. Not to feel bad if he does need help. Human bodies are frail.
Right. Well, when I finish my prayers, I'll do another prayer and cast Cure Light Wounds on myself.
Okay, so as you finish your first prayer, you call on the power of Dagon to restore you, Ogdrin. Make your roll to see how many hit points you get.
Ooh, Dagon is with me.
Today is your day.
So, as Ogdrin finishes his first prayer, Marku, and you ask if he's alright and he shouldn't be ashamed if he needs assistance, he begins a second prayer, splashing this water over himself. And as he rises and turns around to you, his wounds are like closing as you look at him, and he responds to you by saying,
"Behold the power of Dagon. It is a good day."
It would seem so. You seem renewed.
Yes, quite.
As you guys are doing this, you can see that Jasper's like sat there with like half a sort of uneaten sausage like hanging out of his mouth, sort of like open mouth, watching this whole thing going on.
I'll go to him, and I'm reaching in to like take the sausage. Like, are you going to finish that? I'm quite hungry.
He just sort of like nods his head, and then in a sort of like a bit of a dumbfounded voice, he's like, "No, hurt yourself."
Yeah, so I grab it and stuff it in my face.
Yeah, you grab this half a smoked sausage out of his mouth and chomp down on it. It's quite good. It's quite sort of spicy. There's obviously a lot of herbs and such like in it to help preserve it for a long period of time. It's travelling rations, you know what they're like.
Mm-hmm. So,
but you know, Ogwyn, the royalists that attacked you, we still have that breastplate from one of them. If you wanna wear that.
I think we sorted that out in a previous session. Someone pushed it on me, like, you need to have armor. So
okay, I'll delete it then if you have it.
Yeah.
John said it counts as chainmail, so it's AC 16.
Okay, I shall update that. So what's it called? Is it?
It's a royalist breastplate, but since they don't have rules for just breastplates and it's not a full suit of plate, I've said we'll split the difference and we'll just use it as chainmail.
Okay, yeah. So I'll sort that out.
Yeah, I'll delete it from our loot. Cool. So we're going back to Port Call and sell our stuff and go up to Salazar and hopefully get our herbal supplies, and then we can decide what to do after that.
Right, well, if some of you will give me a hand getting the tent set up and everything, well, we can set off. May as well get going before it gets too warm of the day.
Yeah. They'll pack up camp and.
It takes you about a day to get to Porthcrawl. Normally you would be marking off your rations. However, since the Gloombugger Jasper Gresham is quite willing to share his rations with you, you don't have to mark off any rations at present. Although, as I say, you would do normally.
Just out of curiosity, how many more lanterns does this guy have?
He has about enough gloombugs on him for maybe another 4 lanterns.
Interesting. But they won't die if they are not used, right?
That certainly seemed to be what he was suggesting.
How much does he want for just the glasses of the gloombugs?
Sorry, how much does he want for just the jars with the gloombugs in?
Yeah. So we can refill them, so to speak.
He says it'll cost you 3 silver shillings, so 3 silver pieces a jar.
I'm looking at Sasha. Maybe we should buy some more?
Sure.
I'm just that's all William says.
How much do you need?
The thing is, I'm not sure how much light we will need, but
No,
would
we
say
need all the light we can get.
so.
How many do you have?
Well, I've got 4 jars here, young miss.
So 6 shillings? What's that? Did he say 1.5?
No, he said 3 silver shillings per jar.
Ah, okay, sorry. Okay, so 12.
Yep, 12 shillings will do me, young miss.
Okay, she's gonna take that out of the party because it's the party's pockets.
Okay, that's fine. You buy 4 Gloombug Lantern refill jars off him.
Do you carry it, or should I?
No, you carry it. Of course, you carry it.
Okay.
Okay, so a day later, as you guys are sort of getting near to the outskirts of Porthcrawl, you can hear the church bells ringing in the distance. Jasper looks up and he says, "Oh, they must be getting ready for the Sunday services."
Oh, I thought the priest was dead.
Well, I don't know about that. I had heard something about the us losing a priest, but well, I don't really get into the centre of town much, says Jasper. As you're drawing a little close to the town, you can actually see there is a procession of villagers that appear to be snaking their way through the centre of the town towards the church. They appear to be carrying a wooden coffin between them, and at the head of the group is what appears to be a group of armed men, with sort of in the middle of them, guarded by them, is a man wearing a very fine sort of robe and fine clothing. However, he's hunched over, and even at this distance you can see he's walking with a stick, and you can just about make out the sound of him coughing as he slowly leads this procession towards the church.
Seems they have found a replacement.
Yeah, that was fast.
Maybe he's the old one and who didn't have to work anymore or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Lend me your spyglass.
I give it to her.
Okay, she takes a look at what they're carrying. Does it seem like a burial?
Okay, yeah, you can see that the group of villagers, they're carrying a coffin. You recognise that one of the people carrying the coffin is the innkeeper from the Siren's Whisper. A particularly gruff, strong fellow. He's like one of the pallbearers. Yep, he's one of the pallbearers. You can see that as you focus your spyglass in on the sort of bent over, feeble looking man at the front, you can see he's wearing extremely expensive and lavish clothing, sort of not what you'd expect a priest to be wearing. And as you look at the soldiers around him, you can see they all are carrying shields with distinctive heraldry on them.
Or he's a bishop or something.
No, it looks too fancy to be a priest.
So as you look through the spyglass, you can see on their shield is what appears to be a red cross and an emblem of what looks to be a fish. It's split between blue and white in colour, and on the bottom you can just about make out the words "In Aura Defensorum Pervenerat."
And that means what?
In the sort of older tongue, in the sort of the Latin tongues, you think it means something like "Defenders of the Borderlands" or something similar.
Because he does speak Latin.
Indeed, it's not an exact translation.
I think it is the local nobles. I forgot what they're called, but...
The Harper family.
Yeah, but she forgot. She gives the spyglass back to William. Well, I mean, if they are occupied, we could just, sneak in.
Maybe we should try to sell our stuff first?
Yeah, but they're burying the old priest, so the whole town is gonna be there.
Oh.
I think we should go up to Salazar and see if Dania and Barton got back.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Well, Jasper, I guess this is where we'll part ways. Thanks for your hospitality.
Oh,
May you catch all the gloombugs you can sell.
Well, thanks very much, young miss. I hope you find your friends with the cart, young master. And while I'll leave you all to it. And he turns to the right and he starts heading off into the town himself.
He was really helpful.
Yeah.
Indeed. So as you guys are heading into the town, you crest the hill which several times you have used to camp in previous evenings. Looking down below you, you can see the Church of Peaceful Repose with this line of people snaking towards it. They appear to be gathering in the churchyard behind the church, where there's a couple of trees growing, and you would all know, having sort of been in the area previously, there are a number of graves dotted about behind it. You can hear the sounds of people murmuring and going about their business, and in the distance the sound of the waves and seagulls.
Where's the... Oh, the tower is on the other side of the town. Well, then we have to go there. Should we go right through the town or around?
I'm guessing we came from the...
From the south.
Yeah, you guys would have come from the south, the sort of the southeast, the bottom right-hand corner of the map.
Yeah, so we don't need to go into town. So we're just heading up to Salazar's tower, or ruins of his tower.
Yeah, but we are here, and the tower's up there. Can you see what I'm pinging?
No, I thought this was the tower, sorry.
No, the tower's up there, to Salazar's tower. I can't ping for some reason.
The tower is up here, sort of off the top of the map. Okay, so are you guys planning to
I
circle
say we
around,
should
or?
go around, just in case.
Yeah, let's go around, yeah. Yeah, let's go around.
Okay.
Now I can ping again.
Not a problem. It takes you a short while to go round, but eventually you will find yourself approaching the ruins of Salazar's tower. Okay, so as you guys head north from the town of Porthcrawl, you can see the stone foundations that are all that remain of Salazar's tower. There are a few bits of charred wood and stone lying around it. One thing that does strike your notice that wasn't here before is there is a small gravestone just in front of you on the other side of the path.
Oh. Yeah.
It doesn't appear to have any writing on it. It's just a plain piece of grey stone.
And there's no cart parked here.
There does not appear to be, no.
Okay, well, Sasha will go and check out the gravestone.
Okay, feel free to move yourself on the map.
Bling.
Okay,
I'm taking a look around as usual.
Absolutely fine. Okay, so Sasha, you look at the gravestone. You can see that it appears to have been fairly hastily dug by the sort of careless way the earth has been piled in, and this sort of stone has just been like sunk into the ground rather than placed with the care you would expect with a normal burial. But there's no writing whatsoever on the stone that portrays to a person's name. However, when you look close, you can see that in small, very hasty writing, someone has carved into it, "May God have mercy on your soul."
What time of day is it? Noon?
It's just before noon.
Okay, so we'll wait here for William to do it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm just
so
looking around the close vicinity.
yeah, you look around the vicinity. You don't see anything particularly untoward. Just the debris of the tower, to be perfectly honest. Whilst William's looking around, Marco and Odrin, what are you up to?
This sage is supposed to be here, I say to whoever is closest to me, probably Marco, and receiving no response.
Says will look back. Yeah, his tower burned down. Last we were here.
Oh, you guys can't hear me. Shit. Sorry, I was responding. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, because I realised my actual headset had muted me, not Discord. Sorry about that. So go ahead.
Right.
Well, Odrin's just said that this sage is supposed to be here, and Sasha's just said, well, his tower burnt down.
As I was saying, yeah, the tower burnt down. The city the town was in uproar last we were here. He may have taken sanctuary at the tavern. I think that might have been where we last saw him.
Yeah, but didn't I thought he went back? Okay, so we'll go over to Orgon. Okay, you know those fish necklaces you got?
Yes.
Last time we were here, something odd happened. William found those inside the church, and they said that they were gifts from the sea. They would show up on shore along with fish and gold nuggets.
Do these people, and I point towards the town
No.
center.
No,
These people worship Dagon?
no, he said no 7 times. No, but they might, in a way that they don't know they are worshipping Dagon.
I do not understand.
They claim to be of the West Haven Church.
Yes, their
clearly
temple is an obscenity. Yes.
Yes, but they clearly have certain pagan rites thrown in. Like they go down to the sea and they have this whole ritual thing where the sea will bring them bountiful harvest, and they will get a lot of fish. They'll get gold nuggets. William have some gold nuggets from it, and these amulets.
So they are pretending to be people of the one god.
Either that, or they somehow this has been a tradition. They don't really know what it is, because they're peasants, or not peasant, but fishing people. So they don't know what they're doing. Or they could be, masquerading.
Well, that is weird. I wish to visit this temple of theirs. But for this sage, and I point towards the ruined tower, are we going to try and dig for him, or...?
No, we're not going to try to dig from him. We're going to try to find him. He's probably in town, along with Barton.
Okay, so shall we go?
Yeah, but before we go, is there any way I could convince you to tone down the whole pagan priests thing you got going?
I don't understand. I'm a priest of Dagon.
I know, and that's good. Dagon helped us.
I agree.
But these people might not be lenient towards that idea. So maybe if you would wear a cloak to disguise your magnificent Dagonish appearance.
Why would he want to be anything other than he is?
She gives Marco a sharp look. Stay out of this.
It's confused. It's like, what's wrong with Dagon? It's just another religion. You people have many weird habits and traits.
So what are you saying? Audrun says, just completely not getting your point.
Okay, so
William would come back. It's clear.
So,
Okay,
if I put on a cloak, these people will not recognize the glory that is Dagon, the Lord of the Waters.
something like that. Yes, they will.
These people must be incredibly stupid.
Well, it's a question about not making it too obvious that we are different, so we won't get into too much trouble. I mean,
These people don't like us. That's
Yeah.
all.
Well, if we can, do you have this cloak for me to wear?
okay, so Ogren is somewhat semi-nude, right? Wearing a
Yeah.
big stick,
Mm-hmm.
a cudgel, and
Mhm.
a lot of Dagon necklaces, right?
Yeah, a lot.
She looks at him. Would it be okay if I slightly adjust your appearance just while we're in town?
Okay. If you think that will fool these simpletons, yes.
Okay, cool. Can you kneel a little bit? You're rather tall.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She will take a leather strap, John, and kind of pull his hair back and make a ponytail to make
Absolutely fine.
make him look a little more civilized. And she will kind of like take the necklaces and hide them behind his back, so the fish symbols will be on his back, not on his chest.
Okay.
She'll kind of
William would remind you that some of these villagers carry these things.
Yeah, but we don't know about the note. But that's true. I will. She takes out a shirt from one of the backpacks, the biggest one she can find, and see if it fits him. And if not, she'll just like make him kind of like, you know, with Fabio, only the half of the shirt is buttoned.
Yeah, you probably won't be able to button the shirt up, but you can sort of like stretch one over him.
Yeah, she'll do that. Yeah, okay. And she'll give, she'll take out the cloak and put that on him too. Yeah, kind of like this. Maybe a hat, and give him one of the fancy hats on.
Okay, when you finished, Sasha, he still looks a little bit like a wild man, but he's less obviously screaming like pagan priest of the old ones.
Okay. Yeah.
He's not going to pass at any society balls or anything, but people looking at him probably aren't going to think he's a priest of Dagon.
Okay, does he have a beard?
No, just a lot of hair.
I guess this will kind of do until just yeah. I guess it will do. She hopes.
This seems strange to me.
I know, and it is strange, but it's as William said. They don't like us that much, and we are trying with an elf, and they don't seem to like elves that much either. So,
Speaking
What do these people like?
Themselves.
yeah, I mean the only ones that's really kind of like normal is William and I. Just with a bright smile.
Speaking of elves, whilst all this sort of like dress up is going on, what's
I
Marco
raise a
up to?
brow.
Marco's doing, John.
Yeah, what are you up to?
Oh, I'm amused at this. Amused at this human display of confusion. Are we getting a feel for the town really? Like as we're walking, has it simmered down since the riots?
It certainly as you sort of skirted round it to get to the tower, it didn't seem to have the whole sort of like mob of frenetic activity that it did when everyone sort of grabbed their pitchforks and headed for the tower. But there's almost like a a mood of solemnity sort of hanging in the air.
Yeah.
Like I say, you've seen this
Nice word.
probably funeral procession heading towards the church. Everyone seems quite solemn. The church bells are tolling. The village seems sort of quiet, but it's not a sort of fearful quiet. It's more a sort of contemplative, respectful silence.
Marco's thinking is, while he doesn't hold much love for the royalists, have ourselves killed several of them in the last couple of weeks. Eventually that's going to get noticed. So I'm kind of looking out to see if there's a more increased presence of them in the town, or any signs that anyone's looking for us.
You guys haven't been into the sort of centre of town yet. You've sort of skirted round and headed to the tower. You didn't notice as you did so any increased signs of royalist presence, but as I said, you've not actually been through the centre of the town yet.
No sign of the little kid and the daughter.
Not as far as you've seen. They could have been in the crowd heading to the church. It was difficult to tell. Only Sasha really looked through the spyglass at it. You are correct, Sasha. You did see there were some Roundhead soldiers in the village last time you were there. The only ones you saw through your spyglass were the ones surrounding the suspected noble who was leading the funeral procession.
We have to find Barden and Dani.
Yes. Let's go down to the inn, and we'll look there.
With Dagon's protection, we will be fine.
Okay, so you all head back into the town. It's a little bit eerie. It's quite quiet, aside from the tolling of the church bells, and you can hear some murmuring from this gathering of people over the street in the Church of Peaceful Repose. But everything seems quiet as you head to the Siren's Whisper Tavern. As you get near, you can see that the cart you took possession of is parked up next to the tavern.
Oh. Sasha lights up when she sees that. At least they got this far.
Are the horses still near this? Near the cart?
There are a couple of small dwellings. There's a small sort of stable area that it's parked next to, and there's a windmill just off to your left as you're facing the tavern.
Okay.
Sasha goes into the inn.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. You all walk into the tavern. Inside, you can see the small red-haired wife of Brock by the name of Poppy. She's sort of busying herself, tidying up, dusting the tavern. You can also see the aged, wizened sage Salazar sat down by the side of a table with a drink on the table in front of him. You can also see Barden and Dani sat around the table with him. As you enter, Barden, upon seeing you, Sasha, leaps up from his table, runs over to you, a look of excitement on his face, his floppy hat bouncing up and down as he runs towards you. And he says, "Oh, good, I'm so glad to see the rest of you made it."
Yeah, she smiles and gives him a big hug. I'm glad you made it. She takes off his hat and scruffles his hair a bit and gives him put the hats on back.
He grins at you and he says, well, yes, I was worried when you all didn't come back, but I remembered what you said, Miss Sasha, that if you didn't come back, I was to take this young lady in the cart and get back to Porthcroll as quickly as I could. So that's what I did.
She nods. That's good. That's good. I'm glad you did that. As you can see, we're all okay.
He smiles again. As you're saying this, Salazar sort of climbs up with the creaking of his old joints from behind the table, moves over to you all, and he takes the hands of Marku, who's the first person he reaches, and shakes your hands warmly. Marku in his wizened old hands, and then says, "Oh, my friends, thank you, thank you. You have no idea what my daughter," and he gestures at Dani, "means to me, and what a great service you have rendered me by returning her safely to me." As he's saying that, he then turns towards William, still this like smile and this twinkle in his old eyes. He turns towards you and he says, "And can I say again, whilst I am humbled and gratified by your agreeing not to accept any reward for her return, William, I must insist that I at least give you something for returning my daughter safely to me.
I'm looking a bit confused at him. Was there a person looking like me earlier here?
Well, I don't know about that, but you came in here. It must be about half a day ago now, and when I see you return, I thank you obviously for returning my daughter Darnie to me, and I was ready to give you your reward, but you insisted no reward was required. And you said you believe that I asked about your companions, hoping they were well, and you assured me they would probably be along shortly.
Oh,
Where did I go?
how generous of you, William.
You said you had further business, and that you couldn't stay, and you left the tavern. I did not seek to follow you. I must confess, I was so overjoyed to see Darnie again that I was more concentrating on her than yourself. Why? Is there something amiss?
No, it's perfectly fine. But we're glad that everyone is okay. If you would feel inclined, we certainly could use some of your healing herbs.
Yes.
That.
Of course. Say no more. It is. I've been instructing the young innkeeper's wife here, and Poppy, would you be so kind as to fetch those two tarts that I instructed you to bake earlier? Oh yes, right you are, says Poppy, and she walks past, sort of brushing close to Marco as she walks into the room, and she tips him a saucy wink and heads into the other room. A few moments later, she emerges carrying these 2 small pies or tarts in her hand. She says, "Just finished baking them, like Salazar asked me to. But there you go." And she puts them on the table in front of you and says, "Oh, be careful, they're still a bit hot." Salazar looks at you all and he says, "These tarts have been fashioned with the rare Aldwych rhubarb, a preserve of my own designer. It is designed to bolster the flagging health and the tiredness of a man, and it will enable him to travel for many leagues. Even these 2 small tartlets.
Oh.
It is small reward for what you have done for me, but with most of my stocks destroyed by the fire at my tower, and with the years advancing on me, as I'm sure you have noticed, I have not been able to salvage a great deal of my herbs, but I did know where I could obtain some local curatives, and I was able to prepare these 2 for yourselves."
Well, thank you, and she will take them. That's kind of you. Sure, that will come handy.
I'm looking at Salazar. You are a sage, right?
That is correct, my young friend.
What's your specialty?
My specialty is herbs, curative magics, the study of natural fungi and herbs that can be used to cure ailments and revitalize the body.
What do you know about armor, magic armor?
Alas, I know a little, but it is not really my speciality. I'm not really I don't really specialize in the ways of war. But if you have questions, of course, given all you've done for me, I would do my best to answer them. But I would not wish to give you false hope.
I get closer and show him my armor, which I have hidden behind a shirt or something, and the elven scriptures on him. It says in Elven that's the armor. 1 second.
He peers at the rooms and says, "Oh yes, the
armor of the shadow armor of Shalana."
Yes, indeed.
I put it on. And I can't take it off anymore.
Well, I have heard of certain items that have curses laid upon them that make them impossible to remove. As I said, this isn't really my speciality. I can sense there is indeed an enchantment upon this armour. And then he stops sort of midway through talking and he peers at the edges of your armour where the elven inscription is, and he says, That's curious.
What?
Well, it may be nothing, but when you came in here previously, or as you say, when this person who resembled you came in here previously, I also had the chance to observe his armour, and the inscriptions were different.
What does his inscription say?
Well, it was mainly the same. I almost didn't spot it when looking at yours, but you see these sigils here, which mean shadow. On the armour I saw before, they were different sigils. They meant light or radiance.
Interesting. I will go look for this other me, and I would leave the tavern.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
just be
absolutely
careful. Tashik.
I just nod.
fine. Okay, so William leaves the tavern. So what are the rest of you doing?
I wonder what spooked him. Surely you would know that, right? Sasha, you've been with him, I don't know how long?
As you're saying this, Poppy sidles over to your table. You notice Sasha, since you're sort of looking in that direction, that she appears to be sort of like slowly like edging her way towards Marku. Then in what seems to be like a deliberately exaggeratedly loud voice, she says, "Oh well, it's a terrible shame with everyone being at the funeral, and here's me stuck in this tavern doing all this work with no one to keep me company."
Well, I mean, normally you have these three. She nods at Celestar, Dania, and Barton.
Oh, of course, you're right, miss, but I wouldn't want to intrude on their reunion. No, I was just thinking if only I had someone who could keep me company whilst my husband and all those others are at the funeral. And as she says this, she sort of under the table like gives your leg a little pinch, Marker.
You feel the table just do like a little shake. Right. Okay. I think I got some stuff I need to do. To leave now.
So the rest of you see this fiery-headed Poppy like sidle over to Marco and make this obvious innuendos, at which point Marco's like, yes, I seem to remember. I've got some things to do.
Yeah, there's some things to do. You.
And I'm presuming you're heading out to the tavern, Marco.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, not a problem.
So
John,
just shakes her head.
Yes, Odrin.
Salazar is here still, right?
That's correct. He's just sort of chatting quietly with Darnie whilst the rest of you are talking.
Yeah. I'm going to approach him and sort of wave to get his attention.
He looks at you and then says, I'm sorry, I don't wish to be rude. It's just been so long since I've seen my daughter. Tell me, I don't believe I've had the pleasure."
Yes. My name is Odrin. You are the keeper of the secrets, the secret ways?
Well, such as they are, I have some knowledge of herbs and curatives. The local people refer to me as a sage, although it is not the term that is used in my own lands. But you may please simply call me Salazar.
Very good, Salazar. And I lower my voice. I would like to ask if you have herbs or perhaps mushrooms for having visions for religious purposes.
As you say this, he smiles at you and he says, he leans closer and in a low voice says, "Well, it just so happens that I do make use of certain funguses when I am seeking answers to the great mysteries. Whilst I fear most of them were burnt within the ruins of my tower, I do still have some of them in my possession, although not many, and they are rare and precious indeed.
Would you be willing to part with them for some price or service?
Given that you and your friends have returned my dearest darling daughter to me, I would be willing to give you one of the mushrooms that I use. I would not insult you by asking for money, given all the pricelessness of what you have returned to me.
Very good, very good. You are quite wise. I do not have much in the way of money to begin with, but I shall surely pray for your health and your daughter's health as well.
Then please just give me one moment. Whilst I am looking for alternative lodgings, I'm staying in the one room that this small tavern has. If you will give me a moment, I'll go and fetch for you what I have. And he disappears through this back door.
Sasha will sit down at the table with Barton and Danny.
Okay. So a few moments later, Salazar comes back in, and he's holding like a small paper parcel in his hand. He puts it on the table in front of you, Audran, and then he says, I would advise you to be careful. These green cap mushroom can be very potent, especially if one is not used to them.
Oh, I'm very used to them. Thank you.
You are most welcome. As I have said, what you have restored to me is a treasure beyond any measure that man can find. And he puts his hand onto the table, and his daughter clasps his hands and nods and smiles.
So what's going on at the church today?
Who are you addressing your question to?
Salazar, and she takes up her tray.
Salazar looks at you, still holding the hands of his daughter, and he says, I believe it is some sort of a ritual burial for the deceased priest of the town. I heard one of the local people saying that they were planning to bury him under some tree near the church that apparently he used to sit under and contemplate his faith.
Father York.
Yes, I believe York was his name. I believe even the local lord Lord Harper is attending the funeral procession to give a speech.
The old man.
Yes, alas, Lord Harper does. Whilst he is younger than me, I believe he suffers from some ailment or infirmity that renders him weak in the body.
Oh. Well, as long as you're not weak in the mind, I suppose. Hey, Poppy, is it possible to get a bath here? She calls out to Poppy. Unless Poppy chased the elf down the street.
No, Poppy's sort of like looking out of the window, like in the direction that Marku went, but she's not following him out into the street. She turns around and she says, "Well, I suppose it's certainly possible. I mean, we've got the old tin bath through there, but like I said, we've only got the one room, and Master Salazar's occupying it to the minute." At which point Salazar holds up his hand and he says, "My good innkeeper, if these people wish to bathe using the facilities you've provided to me, I have no objection whatsoever. Please feel free. There is nothing in that room that I would be bothered about you seeing."
I would love a bath.
Okay, so you're shown through into the room that Darnie and Salazar have been occupying. They've obviously not been there for long. There's not much in the way of like creature comforts, but there is like a couple of cots there that they're obviously sleeping in. And in the centre of the room is basically this tin bath. You can see that underneath it is it's like up on bricks, and underneath it is a space where someone could like light a small brazier and put it underneath to like heat the water up.
Oh. That sounds good. Is Poppy with her?
Yeah, Poppy stood next to you and she says, well, there you go. If you the water's in there. It's only been used a couple of times, so it's still pretty good. If you want, I'll get the brazier going. I can give you a shout in a couple of minutes once it's warmed up.
Yes, cool. She'll take up her coat, her breastplate, all the pistols, and put it down on a cot. Drag her boots off, And when she comes back, is it possible to have these cleaned? And she holds out the muddy boots.
Yeah, I suppose I could run a bit of water over them, says Poppy. I've got one of the old horse brushes out there. I'll give them a bit of a going over. I don't say it'll be they'll be as new, but I can get the worst of the muck off.
Yeah. Okay.
She sort of gathers up as much of your stuff as you've given her, and a few minutes later says, well, the water should be about warm enough now. I've left the brazier on. If it starts getting a bit too hot, just blow it out.
Okay, well, she'll get undressed and get up in the bath and get some warmth into her.
Not a problem. You settle into this bath and the water starts gently heating up with this brazier. Right, I'm going to jump to William now. William, you left the inn. Where were you heading to?
To a church.
You head across to the church. As you're getting near to it, you can see this crowd of people gathered round in the sort of churchyard around the back of it. You can see that there is a wooden box has been placed there, and this sickly looking man wearing these fine clothes, like long grey hair and milky looking eyes, has stood up on it. There are guards flanking him on either side, and as he sort of raises a hand, and the locals start to fall silent. After a few moments, with a bit of a the noble, in a slightly sickly sounding voice, says, although Father York was not born in this town, he became as good a part of life in our community as anyone, helping those who needed him, thinking nothing for his own personal gain. York, like many of us, lost children and loved ones to the terrible war that ravages this land, but he rose above the need for revenge, seeking only to provide comfort to others. If there is any of us more willing to sit at God's right hand in the splendour that awaits us after this life, I cannot think of their name. Rest well, Father, in the shade of the tree that you sat under on so many days. Rest well and know that our thoughts and our prayers are with you. He breaks off into another spell of racking coughs and then says, I have sent word to the local church asking them to send us a replacement priest, but it may take them many days to get here. But I'm sure Father York would not want us to lose faith or forget ourselves whilst we wait for his replacement. So in the meantime, I must ask you all to hold the memory of Father York dear to your hearts and do what he would have expected us to, which is to carry on and keep this town running in the way that he would have wanted us to. He breaks off again into racking coughs. One of his guards reaches out to sort of help him, and he sort of brushes them off and then says, I will leave you all now to say your own respects to our dearly departed Father York. Farewell, all of you. At which point he turns, and between his guards he starts walking towards the northern edge of the village.
Okay. I would try wait for the guys, for all the people to say their farewells and stuff, and would look around in the church if it looks like somebody was in the private chambers of the priest where I found the entrance to the dungeon.
Okay, you look around the church, peeking through windows, etc., but everyone seems to be gathered outside. There doesn't really appear to be anyone inside the church at the moment.
Okay. Just to explain my line of thought, this other me seemed to be doing all the stuff I want to do, so I wanted to go in there, so I'm looking around for him.
Okay, not a problem. You head into the church. It looks much as you remember it. You have a quick scout around. You don't see any obvious signs of anything having been disturbed. There's a few things that have been changed. Candles have been replaced. A few odds and ends have been moved about, but nothing that looks overtly suspicious.
Okay. I'm going back to the place where I found the entrance to the dungeon and would try to at least go a bit in there.
As you climb down, presumably igniting your lantern in the dark catacombs below the church.
Yeah, I would shake my gloom lantern.
Indeed, that's absolutely fine. It casts light that actually goes a bit further than a standard lantern, so I'm just going to tweak that.
I want this gloom bugger as a hireling. Could be useful in the long run.
It's definitely a potential thing you could do. Okay, so in the green, airy light that your Gloombug lantern casts, you can see the long stone corridor ahead of you that you know has side chambers leading to sort of sepulchral areas where long dead nobles are buried.
Okay. I would just think about how I would act when I go in there alone, and I would just walk around and make markings on potential interesting sites. And I know I have been here again already on the first site, so I would just go a few steps, look if there and the dust on the ground is some footsteps, or if I had markings made with if there are markings made with chalk recently somewhere.
Okay, feel free to move yourself over to where you're looking.
I think I would just go about here. Peeking around, looking if there are any signs of me.
Okay, you don't see any obvious signs that another version of you has explored this place.
Okay. How long does it seem is this corridor I'm in?
Okay, well, each square on the map is 5 feet.
I can only see as wide as my lantern goes. Okay. Since I'm pretty sure this guy would just do the same things I would do, and he didn't mark anything, so I would just turn around and go back. That was my first idea to check. I just don't want to meet anyone up and down here, or maybe someone who has let someone in here. So I go out and try to check that I'm not getting disturbed while doing that or caught.
Okay, you sort of like poke your head up the stairs through the flagstone that you know moves to allow entrance to these catacombs. You don't see any signs that anyone's like noticed you're there, which is hardly surprising given like how stealthy you are.
Okay.
As you're sort of like you peer up, you can just about see through one of the lower windows of the church that the people who are in the churchyard or at this funerary service, some of them have dispersed and are obviously heading back to their own businesses, their places of work, their homes, etc. A few of them have stayed behind, like a few are sort of putting like flowers and bundles of herbs on the gravestone that you presume which is where they've buried Father York, near this huge oak tree in the sort of northeastern upper portion of the churchyard. But no one appears to have noticed that you're like inside the church.
I would just go out and spend my next hour or so asking around the villagers if somebody saw me yesterday or a half a day ago, and where he did go and what he did do and stuff like that.
You head back out and you start asking around people. A few of them do claim to have seen you about half a day ago. They don't have anything particularly world-shattering to tell you. They say that they spoke to you. You seemed nice and friendly. You just made general chit-chat with them. And then you said that you're going to be leaving the town shortly. You had business elsewhere.
I tried to make out which direction I did go.
A couple of them who actually saw you sort of leaving the town boundaries say that they saw you heading to the north of the town.
Okay. Maybe to Salazar's tower. How long did it take to get this information?
It's probably taken like an hour, or probably a couple of hours, because obviously you've been having to like go around and ask different people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, well, I didn't really remember, but I heard so and so," and you have to ask a lot of people.
I would meet back with the others then.
Okay, not a problem. So the rest of you, whilst William's been doing this. Obviously, Sasha, you've had your nice warm bath. What are the rest of you doing?
Well, Marku, after that weird encounter with them, is it Rosa?
Poppy.
Poppy! These human names get all confusing. Well, I've gone out into town. What would I have done? See, Marku was kind of suspicious that this arm being elven might be connected to this William thing. But he doesn't have any evidence to prove this, so he's going to go looking around. Is there any elven shrines or any other elven sites nearby, John, that I would know of?
Not within the bounds of Porthcrawl, and you're not really aware of any nearby. In fact, it came as a surprise to you that you found the temple you did.
Okay. So what I'll do then, I will go shopping. I'll just basically go around the stalls, okay? For what we've understood about this guy, this other William, is he keeps coming up to people that the William that we know knows. Correct?
That certainly seems to be the case.
So I'm gonna say isolate myself, but I'm gonna appear like I'm just shopping, doing nothing important, but I'm seeing if I am approached by William. And if I can tell it's him.
Okay, how long are you planning on spending doing this?
Couple of hours.
Okay, so you spend a couple of hours wandering around. If there's any equipment you want to spend money on and buy, you can do.
Okay.
You chat to a few locals. Like I say, you're known locally in the area.
Yeah.
So although they're initially like, "Oh, it's an elf," and they're like, "Oh, all right, Marco, it's you. Oh, we know you."
Nice, Marco, yeah. I'm relatively accepted here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Relatively.
So no one's too sort of standoffish with you. However, you aren't approached by anyone who looks like William during the time you're wandering about. So whilst you're sort of like buying any equipment you want to, which I'll leave you to do, I'm going to jump back to Odrin and see what he's up to whilst all this is going on.
Okay.
Right. What's Sasha doing right now?
Well, after her bath, she wants to go out and sell all the loot that we don't want to keep.
Yeah, I'll accompany Sasha on the commerce venture.
Okay, at which point I'm going to move the two of you over to an area that's affectionately known as Smelly Alley, which is where the main stalls are. And as you're looking around there, you're surprised to see that Marco also appears to be there, engaging in a spot of commerce. The people in this area are largely sort of like fishmongers. There's a few stalls set up, etc. There's mostly fish being sold and provisions. There are a few other bits and pieces being sold. Obviously, there are people who provide metal items, smiths, etc. in the town. But Smelly Alley appears to be where a lot of the commerce goes on, since it's where all the fish is sold. So anyone else who wants to sell stuff does it here. So you three, Odrin, Sasha, and Marku, bump into each other down at Smelly Alley, where all the fishmongers are. There's a horrible smell of fish lingering in the air.
That's okay. She put on her old clothes and found it rather foul smelling anyway, so she's glad this is masking it. Where do you suppose we could... Oh, look, it's the elf. She goes over to Marco.
Hey, Sasha. If that really is you, I joke.
We want to sell all the stuff we don't want to keep. So she looks up and down. And is there anything you want? From
yeah, that's very kind of you to ask.
Maybe a bow? Do you
A
have
bow would be great, yes. If we're going to continue this adventure of ours, which I would like, since I've seen what it's like to be on your bad side. A bow would be great.
How about, is he wearing a buff jacket? Did we give him a buff jacket back then?
I have got a buff jacket, yeah.
Okay.
I am buffed.
Buffed. Okay, well, she'll look through and find the short bow and give him that. That means I will now delete it herefrom. Make a note of it.
Okay.
I no longer have the note.
I shall put it on my memory banks.
So, how do you want to do it, John? I mean, we have a lot of stuff to sell.
Yeah, if I presume you've got the price list there for various things. So if you just want to total up how much money you'd get from it based on the raw costs, that's how much money you'd make.
The rule. Okay, cool. I'll do that. So I'll just sell. I mean, you can look at Logs of Entering Company plunder and say if you want any of it. I will not sell the artifacts though. We'll keep those.
Does this bow Sasha have any arrows, or do I need to get them myself?
I haven't noted it, but I assume there were some few hours or something. John?
There was a guy with a bow, so...
Yes, there were.
How many?
I don't know, I haven't noted it.
There will be 10 arrows with it.
Can I have some of them?
Sure.
I'm not there, obviously, but I'm assuming we had this conversation before.
Yeah, should we say we half the quiver?
If I get 7, I'm full again.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
How do you feel about firearms, Håkon? Is that something you would like?
No, I do not like those things.
Okay, so I'll just sell it all. Maybe you'll have one of the backpacks and one of the water skins just in case, Håkon.
Yes.
Okay. So again, I'll delete it from the list. Okay, John, I can just tally that up and give the total.
Okay, no problem. So you guys have engaged in a bit of trading, selling off the various bits and pieces, keeping what you want that you've got. Obviously, Sasha sort of like overseeing all of that and the party's loot. Aside from the trading, is there anything else in particular you guys want to do in this area?
Buying stuff? Maybe?
Yeah, if you've got money and you want to buy stuff, that's absolutely fine.
Lanterns and oil. We need those.
I got my gloom bags.
I'm just trying to see how much silver I've got.
It would be much easier to know how much we can buy if we know how much money we got, but that would take a bit, I assume.
Well, obviously, at the minute, Sasha's in the process of like selling stuff and converting it to cash.
She got my wish list.
Yeah, I'll pick up some more rations, John, at this time. It's okay.
That's absolutely fine. I presume you've got the equipment list there.
I don't have it open, but I have... So... I don't know how much it costs, but it's a few silver, I think, or maybe less than the silver.
1 second.
For iron rations. That's how I stay so trim.
If you're looking for iron rations, it's 1 silver piece for a day's ration.
No, don't buy rations. We have a lot of those.
Oh. I get hungry.
So, Marky, you're just about to hand over some shillings to someone for some iron rations, and Sasha's like, no, we've got loads of those.
Iron, but you only have standard rations, right?
Yeah, but let's eat those first before they rot.
The iron rations hold pretty much forever, but they're, yeah.
Okay, fine, buy them.
They cost double as much, but...
As the three of you are engaged in your trading, you hear the sound of metal clanking, and as you look sort of back down the street away from the coast towards the direction of the Siren's Whisper and the Church of Peaceful Repose, you can see what appears to be a group of 4 armed men wearing some round head armor, you know, the round metal helmets and breastplates, each of them carrying a spear. They appear to be marching towards you down the street. As you watch them approach, Sasha, you recognise their leader as the roundhead captain that you spoke to last time you were in Porthcrawl.
Oh. Okay.
Are they paying us any notice?
Well, they appear to be directly marching towards yourselves.
Oh, right.
I think Marco and I avoided them last time.
As they draw level with you, they stop, and they're not sort of holding the weapons up as though they're going to attack you or anything. They're just sort of marching along carrying these spears. The captain steps forward and he says, "If you'd please be good enough to come with me, Lord Drago Harper would like an audience with you." And as he says that, that is where we are going to end this evening's session.